Okay. And then the last piece, are we talking about supplementing today?
Yes,
Do you want to be richer? I can make this
of
really
course. We
okay.
we dabble. I mean, I say we dabble in it. I kind of fit into your number one as your little thing you sent.
Yeah.
I am certified with Xactimate, so I mean, I get how to do it. It's just I don't have time to call the adjusters every single day, hound them, making sure we're sending emails. So
Yeah.
I'm exactly to a T what you said is it gets there and we don't follow up on it. So yes.
Yep. I totally get that. And I'll make this simple for you, high level, just for the sake of time. If you want me to go into more detail, I certainly can, but usually supplementing for people is very easy to grasp in terms of like how I'm going to train you. So here's the deal. Most contractors are stuck on just asking for like the same handful of items all the time. I call it the basic BS. It's like rigid starter, overhead and profit, flashings, drip edge, ice and water shield, missed measurements on the eagle view, decking, multiple layers. And guess what? You probably caught on pretty quick. Adjusters have a scripted rebuttal industry wide for those line items,
Yes,
right?
they do.
You ask them for rigid starter and they say it's included in the waste. And then you ask them for overhead and profit and they're like, it's not enough trades. And then you're like, it's roof siding, gutters, a window, drywall, paint, and a partridge in a pear tree. And they're like, it's not complex enough in nature. You ask them for drip edge, they say they don't know for code upgrades and so on and so forth. You know what the song and dance is.
Oh
So
yes.
the problem is like, what you have to remember is insurance companies are businesses and businesses are in business
Yeah.
to
Make
make
money.
money. And
Oh yeah.
insurance companies make more money by paying out less money. Like that's what they do. So they're really, really clever about
Absolutely.
this. You have to think like, okay, Florida is a great example. In Florida, you guys have, I mean, millions sometimes of claims when you have hurricanes go through. But
Yeah.
let's just say State Farm only, for whatever reason, has 100,000 claims this year. Okay, which is a ridiculously tiny, inaccurate number. But if they can
Correct.
if they can only shave off $1,000 off of each of those claims, that's $100 million that they keep.
I show that every time. I say that something very similar. I'm like, if you think about it, if they deny just 100 claims and that's $10,000, that's $1 million that they didn't have to pay out that they should have paid out.
Yes.
So I've used your almost exact thing right there when it comes to it. So when you're talking to people and they deny, I use denied claims because we get a lot of just flat denied claims down here. So
Yeah. Yep. Well, because it's like $100,000 or $100 million. That's even hard to conceptualize, right? Like that's a very fancy private jet that the shareholders are flying
yeah,
to on right now. And but that's what they
yeah,
do is to shave off $1,000 is so easy. That's your rigid starter. That's like
yeah.
two dumb line items, like on your typical small 22 square roof, right? Like it's easy to do. So the problem is this: your biggest handicap as a contractor when it comes to supplementing is you don't know what you don't know, right? So like how do you ask for other things if you don't know that they exist, right? And
Right.
so here's what I figured out, and I'm going to give you the real nutshell version. Okay, when I was 21, I started selling roofs and I didn't know jack shit about roofing. Okay. Like I was a college dropout that had studied journalism and mass communication. I had sold Cutco knives for 2 years. And then I got recruited into this roof sales thing. And I was like, I don't know anything, but I had a theory. I was very, very, my ears were perked about this supplementing thing because I was like, hold on a second. You're telling me I could get more money on every claim I already have? Like, tell me how to do that, because that's a lot less work than going out and beating the streets more and doubling my workload and working twice as much and signing twice as many deals and so on and so forth. So what I started to do, again, this is nutshell version. Okay. My theory was Xactimate has to have more than Rigid Starter and OMP. Like
Right.
there's more in there. So over the years, what I did was I accumulated what in the course you're going to see it called the master list of supplemental items. So it's like it's literally over 100 Xactimate items that are not your Rigid Starter and OMP that are totally legitimate, but people don't know what they are. Like I'm going to rattle off just a couple for you, and some of them you might know, but I'm just getting off the top of my head just some examples. Cornice returns, cornice strips, generators, harnesses, OSHA supervision hours, custom bent aluminum, plastic protection, content manipulation, detach and restep for stuff you never thought you could get it for, ladder jacks for 2-story gutters, single axle dump truck for waste that you never thought you could get it for. It goes on and on, like hand loading materials, general roofer hours, general cleanup hours, cleaning windows. That's a thing. If you get streaks, it's crazy. There's so much in there. And I'm giving you like whatever that was, 9 or 10 things. This is a list of over 100. And all you're going to do is pick. By the way, I want to make it a point, okay? Sometimes people think when they see the numbers I'm about to show you, they're like, you guys must be price gouging. And I say, what do you mean? Or fluffing claims. That's my favorite one.
Oh, yeah.
Must be
oh, yes.
claims. And I go, what do you mean? And they're like, well, you're beating up on the insurance companies. And I go, what do you mean? Like how? What am I asking them for? And the only thing that they can ever say is they're like, well, we're not going to ask for a porta potty if we're not using a porta potty. And I'm like, right. I'm like, I'm not teaching you to ask for a porta potty. We're using Xactimate. And the adjuster at the end of the day is the one that says yes or no. There's no such line item as like, I'm going to pay for 11 supreme pizzas and a live band to entertain the crew while they're installing the roof. Like these are all materials and labor and safety protocol that's part of Xactimate. So I'm just making a point here because sometimes people are like,
yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah. So essentially it's what you ask for, how you ask. I'm going to show you exactly what to say. F9 notes, the intro paragraph, language you avoid at like the plague, stuff like that. And then handling adjuster objections. And when it comes to, here's what I want you to understand about objection handling with adjusters. Okay. I cannot teach you how to get every single line item paid for every single time on every single claim with every single adjuster. There's no such thing.
Nobody can.
Exactly. Like, unless you're going to sue everybody, which that's not what I'm teaching you guys. There's no way to do that. So what you're going to find is the course. I want you to look at the course like an arsenal of knowledge, AKA weapons. And it's if this, then that. If this, then that. If the 22 is not big enough, try the 9mm. If the 9mm is not big enough, 45 mag. If that's not big enough, AK-15. And if that's not, or AR-15. And then if that's not big enough, you throw a stick of dynamite. Okay. And that's what the negotiations process looks like. So we're giving you like, hey, if this doesn't work, try that. If that doesn't work, try this. And there's an escalation process. Okay. Which that also includes my homeowner letters. So are you familiar with those at all? Have you like heard me talk about those on the internet or anything? Because if not, I'll briefly.
You mean the letters that you have the homeowner send to the carrier?
Yes. That's your stick of dynamite. Okay. So overhead and profit works like a charm. And I don't advertise it as a magic bullet because I don't do that for any of my stuff. But I will tell you anecdotally, you're probably going to get O&P 75 to 80% of the time, maybe more using that letter. It's so easy. And there's like 25 or 30 of those letters now. And they work for, it's not just O&P. Partial approvals, discontinued materials, manufacturer warranty installation requirements, stonewalling, like unresponsive adjusters, unredacted pricing or preferred contractor objections or multiple bid objections, and all like there's templates for everything. Those are your sticks of dynamite. Okay. So here's what's cool. And actually, let me ask you a question really quick. Can you tell me really quick in the last 12 months, roughly how many claims you guys did? And be conservative if you're not sure.
Conservatively, I would say 150 to 175. It's probably way more than that, but I'll be conservative.
Okay. So let's just say 165 just to land in the middle. Is that cool?
Yeah, that works.
Okay. So do you remember what I told you earlier about numbers I advertise?
Yes.
I make them conservative, right? So remember, keep that on the top of your mind here. I advertise that the average supplement that you will get approved in addition to whatever your current job size now is $4,500. So if you're at 4,500 times 165 jobs, that's $742,500 in profit. That's not just revenue. You profited on those jobs. This is additional profit, right? That's almost $1 million, $750,000, right?
Yes.
Just those. But here's the deal. That's on my most conservative guaranteed number. Let me show you some stuff. Okay. So I'm going to send this over in the chat again. I'm just going to show you 3 for the sake of time here. In a second, what you're going to have to do, scroll up again, because there's going to be 3, and we're going to start with Michael Moore. which I need to do the math on his because I always forget his number. He just, this is again, another really, really recent one. So Michael, here we go. So he goes, put it this way. We bought the program 8 days ago. That's a week. All right. He said, we've already submitted 55 grand in supplements on just 7 jobs. That means his average supplement was $7,857. And I told you 4,500. Okay. And then the guy below, you don't need to read this whole thing. He was just really excited. I circled the important part. Brad's in Texas. He was also brand new. This is his 30-day check-in. He got back and paid on 5 supplements that profited him $45,400, which it means his average supplement was $9,080.
That's a ton.
And then get this one. Okay, because these ones are those are limited examples because they're people who just emailed me right away. The girl below them is in Ohio, Lindsay. So she's been in my program following this strategy for like 6 or 7 years. So she's really good at it now, okay? You are not reading this wrong. Her 2022 numbers, her average approved supplement, Greg, was $15,855. That's that's her average. That's like people's average job size most of the time. And that's her supplement.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Right. So like that's what's cool about this. When I show you those numbers and I say, hey, like you could bank on 4,500, you're going to be more like 6-7 grand but I just don't advertise that because I want people to get extra excited.